On a gray morning, the heavy and constant rain transformed the small town of Pine Creek, in the United States countryside, into an almost monochromatic landscape. The sky, a mantle of heavy clouds, seemed to reflect the sadness that haunted the heart of a woman named Amanda. Amanda, a 40-year-old widow, with brown hair that waved down to her shoulders and eyes the color of melted chocolate, lived alone in her home, a cozy and rustic refuge built by her grandparents. Every brick and wooden beam of that house seemed to echo the loneliness that was now her only companion. The memories of laughter and love, once so alive, were now only silent echoes, accentuating the loneliness that consumed her being. A few years ago, Amanda lost her husband, Richard, in a tragic car accident. The memory of that night was still vivid in her mind. The phone call that interrupted the stillness of the night, the voice of the police officer on the other end of the line, the desperate race to the hospital, and finally, the cold and cruel silence that followed the announcement of Richard's death. Every detail of that day was engraved in her mind like an indelible scar. Richard was a kind man, with a smile that lit up any room and a heart that seemed to have no limits for love. He was the sun that warmed Amanda's life, and without him, the world seemed to have lost its warmth. They shared dreams, laughter, and plans for a future that would never come. Amanda remembered their early days together. The walks hand in hand through the city park, the long conversations by candlelight, the way Richard looked at her as if she were the only person in the world. The memory of their wedding, a sunny summer day, when they promised to love each other forever, made a tear run down her face. Life without Richard was a harsh reality that Amanda had to face. The pain of loss was a wound that never healed, a void that nothing seemed to fill. But with time, she learned to live with the loneliness, finding solace in small things, like the birds singing at dawn or the beauty of the flowers that bloomed in her garden. Even though Richard's absence was a constant, Amanda had learned to live with the pain, turning it into a force that propelled her forward. But on that rainy and somber day, as she watched the raindrops trickle down the window, Amanda could not imagine that her life was about to change again. On that afternoon, the rain fell at a steady pace, creating a gentle and hypnotic melody in Amanda's house gutter. She was sitting in her favorite armchair, near the window, watching the raindrops trickle down the glass. Suddenly, her attention was drawn to a figure on the road, a lonely and seemingly lost man. The man was standing on the roadside, with his head down and his shoulders drooping, as if carrying the weight of the world. His hair, soaked by the rain, clung to his pale face, and his clothes were drenched, sticking to his thin body. Despite the distance, Amanda could see the lost expression on his face, as if he were searching for something he could not find. Amanda felt a twinge of caution. She was alone, and this was a stranger. But her compassionate nature spoke louder. She could not ignore someone in need, especially on such a cold and rainy day. With a determined sigh, she stepped out of her house and walked towards the stranger. "Hello," she called out as she approached. "It looks like you could use a place to shelter." The man looked at her, surprised, and after a moment, he nodded. "Yes," he admitted, with a hoarse voice from the cold. "I'm Jack, a wanderer." Amanda extended her hand in a welcoming gesture. "I'm Amanda. Come, my house is just over there. You can warm up and eat something." Jack's expression changed from surprise to gratitude. "Are you sure? I don't want to be a bother." Amanda interrupted him with a warm smile. "It's no bother at all. Come." With a grateful nod, Jack followed her. That afternoon, as the rain fell outside, Amanda opened the doors of her home and her heart to a stranger. She didn't know yet, but that encounter would change her life forever. As the days went by, Jack's presence in Amanda's house became a pleasant and surprisingly comfortable constant. The silent and drenched stranger she had welcomed on a rainy day turned out to be a kind and attentive man. With his calloused hands and piercing gaze, Jack brought a different energy to Amanda's house, an energy she had not felt since the loss of her husband. During the nights, they sat in front of the fireplace, the warmth of the flames reflected on their faces as they shared stories of their lives. Amanda, with a cup of hot tea in her hands, talked about Richard, her beloved husband. She told Jack about their walks in the park, the nights of dancing and laughter, and the plans they had for the future. "I still miss him every day," said Amanda, with a noticeable sadness in her voice. "He was my other half. And now, I feel incomplete." Jack, looking at the fire, listened attentively, offering words of comfort when needed. He also shared his story, revealing his troubled past. He spoke about the life he led before, full of mistakes and bad decisions that culminated in a criminal act that led him to prison. "I was young, impulsive, and angry," confessed Jack, looking at his hands. "I made a mistake, a big mistake, that cost me a lot. I was arrested, and when I was finally released, I had nothing and no one. So, I started wandering, trying to find some meaning to my life." Amanda listened, feeling a deep empathy for the man in front of her. Both, in different ways, knew the pain of loss and regret. Both were trying to find a way to move forward. And so, during those nights in front of the fireplace, Amanda and Jack shared their stories and, in the process, found an unexpected connection. They didn't know yet, but these moments were creating a bond that would change their lives forever. The days passed with a smoothness that Amanda had not experienced in a long time. Jack, the wanderer she had taken in, revealed himself to be a man of many talents. He had a special way of fixing broken things, whether it was damaged furniture or household utensils worn out by time. His skillful fingers and meticulous attention to detail turned the old and damaged into something new and useful again. But it wasn't just Jack's tool skills that impressed Amanda. He had a particular love for the garden, taking care of plants and flowers with a tenderness almost paternal. Under his care, the garden came to life, the flowers seemed more vibrant, and the grass greener. Moreover, Jack possessed a surprising musical talent. At night, he would pick up the old guitar that Amanda kept in the living room, strumming gentle melodies that spread through the house, filling the silence with enchanting music. He also sang, his voice was deep and full of emotion, each note loaded with a sincerity that touched Amanda's heart. The house, which was once filled only with the echo of loneliness, now vibrated with life and music. And as the emptiness in her heart began to diminish, Amanda realized that a deep friendship was forming between her and Jack. One night, while Jack played a particularly enchanting melody, Amanda said, "You know, I've always wanted to learn how to play guitar and sing, but I've never had the opportunity." Jack stopped playing and looked at her. "Well, why don't we start now? I can teach you, if you want." The following nights were filled with guitar lessons and laughter. Jack, patient and encouraging, taught Amanda how to hold the guitar correctly, strum the strings, and find her own voice. Music, which had always been a part of Amanda's life, became even more meaningful when shared with Jack. And amidst the musical notes and shared laughter, Amanda realized that her heart beat faster when Jack was around. She fell in love with him, not just for the man he was, but also for the man he became in her presence. And although she didn't know what the future held, she knew she wanted to spend as much time as possible with Jack, the wanderer who brought music and love back into her life. That afternoon, while Jack was in town buying supplies, Amanda decided to organize the attic, a place she rarely dared to enter. The accumulated dust and memories of the past made the space seem almost haunted. As she rummaged through the dusty and forgotten items, she came across an old wooden chest with metal details, hidden under a pile of blankets. With her curiosity piqued, Amanda opened the chest, revealing its contents, belongings of her late husband, Richard. Amanda's breath caught in her throat when she saw a locked box, something she had never seen before. Her hands trembled as she opened the lock, revealing the hidden contents inside the box. Yellowed letters, faded photographs, and official documents told a story she could never have imagined. Her husband, before he met her, had committed a heinous crime, escaping the clutches of the law and adopting a new identity to leave his dark past behind. Amanda felt shock and sadness hit her like a wave. Tears welled up in her eyes as she tried to absorb the truth about the man she had loved and lost. She knew deep in her heart that she needed to share this discovery with Jack. When Jack returned home, he found Amanda in the living room, with the box open on her lap and tears streaming down her face. With a look of concern, he approached and asked gently, "Amanda, what happened?" With her voice choked by tears, Amanda told Jack about the terrible truth she had discovered about her husband. Jack listened in silence, his expression slowly changing from shock to understanding. When Amanda finished, Jack took a deep breath and said, "I also have something to reveal, something I've never had the courage to tell anyone before." Amanda, still shaken, looked at Jack, waiting for what would come next. And so, sitting together in the living room, with the secrets of the past unfolding between them, Amanda and Jack would face the truth together, ready to face the future, no matter what it held. Jack looked at Amanda, his dark eyes heavy with emotion. He took a deep breath, the words he was about to say weighing heavily on his tongue. Amanda, still reeling from the discovery of her late husband's past, waited in silence, feeling a cold apprehension run down her spine. "Amanda," Jack began, his deep voice breaking the silence in the room. "Before I became a wanderer, I was a detective. Not just any detective, but the detective who was chasing the criminal who was your late husband." Amanda looked at Jack, his words hitting her like a punch to the gut. She felt like the ground was opening up beneath her feet, but forced herself to stay calm and listen. Jack continued, "I dedicated years of my life to the pursuit of that man, to the pursuit of justice. He was a shadow, always one step ahead, always out of reach. The chase consumed me, Amanda. I lost everything because of it." His eyes drifted away, lost in the dark memories of the past. "I lost my job, my career, everything I had worked so hard to achieve. My marriage fell apart, the pursuit becoming an obsession that my wife couldn't understand or accept. And in the end, I lost my freedom." Jack's voice trembled, "I was wrongly accused and imprisoned for a crime I didn't commit. The irony of it, the detective becoming the criminal. I couldn't bear it." There was bitterness in his voice, a deep pain that Amanda could feel resonating in her own heart. She looked at Jack, seeing him in a new light, realizing the depth of his pain and the strength of his character. And so, amidst shocking revelations and broken hearts, Amanda and Jack found an unexpected truth. Both, bound by a dark past and wounded hearts, were united in their desire for justice and redemption. And although the path ahead was uncertain, they knew they would face it together, no matter what the future held. Amanda felt like the ground beneath her feet was shaking. Jack's words fell on her like a storm, each sentence, each revelation, hitting her with the force of lightning. He was the detective who had been pursuing her husband, the man whose quest for justice had cost him everything. And there was more. "There's one more thing, Amanda," said Jack, his voice low and tense. I knew about Richard, about who he really was, from the moment I saw his photo in the room." Amanda felt the air leave her lungs as if she had been punched. She stared at Jack, unable to believe what she was hearing. You knew?" she stuttered, her voice almost a whisper. Jack nodded, his gaze heavy with guilt. "I came to this town for a reason, Amanda. I came to confront the man who had ruined my life. But then I met you." He looked at Amanda, his eyes filled with regret and something else, something that seemed strangely like pain. "I saw the life you had built here, the strength with which you faced the pain and loss. And I couldn't. I couldn't bring any more pain to you. Not after everything you had already been through. Jack's words echoed in the silent room, heavy with the confession he had just made. Amanda looked at him, seeing the man he was, a man who had lost so much, who carried so much pain, but who still found the strength to protect her from more suffering. The revelation was a blow, a twist that Amanda could never have predicted. But in the midst of the chaos and pain, she found a strange understanding. They were linked, she and Jack, by a dark past and an uncertain future. And while the shock of the revelation still reverberated in her heart, Amanda knew she would face whatever came next, just like Jack, with courage and determination. Amanda felt like she was in an emotional storm. Each word from Jack, each revelation, was a new blow, leaving her dazed and confused. The reality she thought she knew was crumbling around her, replaced by a darker, more complicated truth. On one hand, there was a sense of betrayal. Jack had known her husband's true identity all along and chose not to tell her. He had kept secrets from her, secrets that changed everything. But on the other hand, Amanda could understand why Jack did what he did. He had seen the pain she had already endured and chose to protect her from more suffering. Despite the betrayal, there was also compassion, and Amanda had to admit, love. Amanda, Jack began, but she interrupted him, raising her hand. I know, Jack, she said softly. I know you did it to protect me. And I can't pretend I don't understand why. But this changes everything. Jack nodded, accepting her words. He knew that nothing would be the same after this. I know this is a lot to process, he said, and I understand if you need time, Amanda. But I want you to know that I love you. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes to clarify all of this. To seek justice. His words resonated in the room, filling the air with a promise of fight, of perseverance. And despite the shock and confusion, Amanda felt a wave of determination rise within her. Let's do this together, Jack, she finally said, looking at him. Let's face the truth, clarify the past, and fight for justice. And let's do it together. And so, as their love strengthened amidst the storm, Amanda and Jack committed to facing the pain of the past and the uncertainty of the future, united in their desire for justice and truth. The stunning conclusion of this saga was a testimony to the resilience of the human spirit and the redemption found in unexpected places. Amanda and Jack, united by surprising circumstances and painful revelations, discovered in each other's love a balm for their wounded souls and the promise of a new dawn. It was a brutal truth, a past marked by crimes and betrayals that irreversibly transformed their lives. However, in that same truth, they found the key to freedom. The discovery of a long-guarded secret, painful as it was, unleashed a wave of liberation, allowing them to face reality head-on and seek reparation. In the midst of turmoil and chaos, a glimmer of hope emerged, a bright light promising a better future. Together, they gathered all the evidence Amanda had discovered in her fateful find in the attic, letters, photographs, documents, and presented them to the authorities. With the reopening of the case, the truth was finally uncovered. The exhaustive investigation revealed the true nature of the late Richard and, ultimately, justice was served. The mistakes of the past were finally corrected, and although the price of the truth was high, the relief it brought was priceless. In this tale of love, loss, and discovery, Amanda and Jack found in each other not only a partner but also an ally, someone who understood their struggles and was willing to weather the storm by their side. They found in each other's love a healing for their wounds, a chance to start anew, a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the ability to overcome the toughest adversities. And so, my friends, we have come to the end of this incredible story, a saga of love, loss, and redemption. Amanda and Jack have shown us that even in the midst of chaos and pain, we can still find hope, healing, and a new beginning. This story reminds us to face the truth, no matter how painful it may be, because freedom and justice lie on the other side. And it reminds us that love and compassion can arise in the most unexpected places and in the darkest moments. Thank you for following along with me on this journey. I hope it has touched your hearts as much as it has touched mine. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. And, before we say goodbye, remember, we all have the ability to overcome adversity, find light in the darkness, and start anew. As Amanda and Jack have shown us, it's never too late to seek the truth, do justice, and find love. Until next time, folks. Stay strong, seek the truth, and spread love. Goodbye and see you soon.